May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be always acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and Redeemer. Amen. Please be seated. There are instructions for this microphone, and I can barely read it because of my eyes. But is this okay? And it's not too close to my mouth, and, you know. My name's Lamont Miltsey. It's good to be back. I come here, every once in a while to fill in for a vacationing, or in this case, a busman's holidaying rector. Pastor Liz is down in Ecuador at a school. I believe she's been foundational in, or she's a wheel down there, and it's good. Thank you for letting her go down there and do God's work in a vastly different climate. Next Tuesday, on, as they say in the C of E, Church of England, St. Basil's Day next, the 14th of June, I will have been ordained priest 41 years. I ain't no spring chicken. I've been around this block a lot. I've been to staff positions in dioceses. I was a chaplain at a boys' school where I taught religion to grades K through 8, whether they wanted it or not. Parish work in LA, New York, New Jersey, up and down the coast of California. Not one, shall we say, a hardship post, but as I believe, you're never given more than you can bear. And for the last 20 years, I've been serving God on the Monterey Peninsula. Nasty, dirty work, but you know, somebody has to. But never in the 2,150 Sundays that I've been ordained, have I ever preached on the concept of justification. It sounds kind of Southern, corny, evangelical, Protestant-y, Pauline, you know, the Apostle Paul, justification. It's academic to be justified. We're Episcopalians. Our fundamentals are like clean linen and common sense. You're okay, you're squared, you're justified. Like that. But I'm going to speak about justification, which I've never done before. So instead of considering this my 2,000th sermon, treat me like I'm a newbie and this is my second sermon.
Game on.
Game on. What does justification mean? It means to be brought into line, to be squared away. Justification is to be right with God. How many of you remember the phrase, or do we even teach mind your P's and Q's anymore? Mind your P's and Q's. They ought also to include B's and D's. It's mind your P's, Q's, B's, and D's. Because all of those letters, P and Q, are mirror image of each other. And D's and D's are mirror image of each other. And when you set type by hand, which I did because when I went to Jefferson Junior High School in 1958, I had to take print shop, and they were still using hand-set type in print shop. And when you hand-set type, use what's called a composer's stick. It's an L-shaped trough, and you hand-set backwards and upside down, starting in the lower right, and go like that, because when you lock it and turn it the right way, you read up, left, down, right. So P's, Q's, B's, D's are always getting confused because A, they're mirror images of each other. When you set them in there, if you don't do it right, you haven't minded your P's and Q's. And you got to do that because otherwise it's dumb. Or as they say in the motto of Jefferson Junior High School print shop, proof reap before printing. Proof reap before printing. And that teaches you to mind your P's and Q's. You are left justified. You guys who work in computers that do Word, Mac Word, or anything like that, you have buttons. You can left justify, right justify, center justify, both justify. They're all these. Okay. To mind your P's and Q's is to be squared away, to be right or left justified. Justification means to be brought in line with God. Is to be in the right relationship with God. Now, at the time of Jesus, and still to this day among the Jews, they have not just 10 commandments, the big 10. They have 603 others. They have 613 commandments in the Hebrew Bible. And the Pharisee that welcomed Jesus into the Pharisee's home in the reading today was devout in trying to obey every one of them. Now, the beauty of the law is that you can obey it. Correct? I mean, you can obey it. Any lawyers want to argue with me on that? That you don't have to obey the law? You gotta obey the law. And that's what they believed. All 613 of them. And they were not bad laws. For example, Exodus, the Old Testament, what we call the Old Testament, correctly called the Hebrew Bible, Exodus 23:5, you are to help your neighbor pick up his overladen donkey when it is overladen. Results in less animal cruelty. It's a good law. Don't abuse animals. Leviticus 19:9. Don't harvest the entire field or orchard. Leave portions of it to be gleaned by the poor. You help people eat. Don't clear cut your orchard. Leviticus 19:36. Use honest weights and measurement in commerce. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. A gallon of gas is a gallon, not 3.5 quarts. It's 4 quarts. Leviticus 22:20. Don't sacrifice a blemished animal on the altar. If you're going to give God a gift, give him a good one. Don't give him a 3-legged cow. Give him a 4-legged cow and sacrifice it. Oh, I see in the back of your church you have a barrel for food. How many cans of smoked oysters do you think are in there? If you're going to give food to poor people, give good food. Now, there were people, as I said, the Pharisees at the time of Jesus, who believed they could obey all 613 laws. And the laws were in their Bible. And God would not give us bad laws, would he? And God would not give us laws that we couldn't obey so that we were disobedient. It's a real problem. When you believe to be justified with God, you have to obey all the commandments. You can't. That's the problem. There are problems with trying to be justified by obeying all the rules. In the first place, there are 613 in the Hebrew Bible. It's a lot of laws to obey. But today, it's not a whole lot easier. According to the Tax Foundation, a nonprofit organization that monitors the tax, the IRS tax code and regulations are over 10 million words. How do you obey laws with 10 million words? There's a big fight in the finance industry, the stock industry, the securities industry right now, on whether or not, if you're managing a retirement account, you have to have a fiduciary responsibility to your client. Fiduciary means prudent man, Donald Trump, listen up. You have to, if there's a conflict of interest, divulge it. And if it's a conflict of interest in terms of what you're trying to accomplish, you always have to put the person's interest first. Your client's interest is more important than yours. And there's a fight about it. There are some funny laws still. I am told, well, when I was in college, I visited some friends in the District of Columbia. And in the District of Columbia in the 70s, it was still illegal for a woman to carry her drink from the bar to the table. In South Bend, Indiana, until about 1978, it was illegal for a woman to wear a red dress downtown. I still think it's on the books in Carmel by the Sea that women cannot wear high heels after dark. Is that true? Yeah. Okay, women, you sinners. Get your pumps on, Now, the problem with the real problem, not is that the laws you can't obey because there are too many of them and conflicting and contradictory, etc., etc., etc. The real problem when you're talking about God and obeying the rules is that you reduce God to a judge, not a lover. You make God someone for whom you should be afraid if he finds you out. That's the problem with trying to obey laws to be justified with God. And then there's a third problem that speaks to the woman in today's gospel, and speaks to a lot of us. You heard the Texas phrase, when you got to root hog or die? Root hog or die? It means you're down to it, buddy. You're where a man's got to do what a man's got to do, and you've got to put beans on the table because your back's against the wall, to mix a couple of metaphors. You got to do what you got to do, and sometimes that means, well, what it means for the woman in today's gospel. In the Mediterranean world of the Greco-Roman times, from basically eastern Mediterranean to the Atlas Mountains, in the basin there, the world was private and public, and men lived in the public sphere. They did business. Women could own property in the Roman world, but women were the mistresses of the house. And they had a lot of power in the house. But in the world outside, in the city, men had all the prerogatives. If you weren't the wife of, mother of, child of, or sister to a man, you had a tough time. You were S-U-L. Somewhat unlucky. And so the woman today is a woman of the city. She's living without a man. She was living by her wits and with her body. For her, many of the laws were irrelevant. She couldn't obey them. She was, in effect, an outlaw. And as Bob Dylan so eloquently put it, to live outside the law, you know you must be honest. And so she was honest. She presents herself to Jesus. She honestly comes forward. And Jesus sees her and knows what she is. And he honestly forgives her and sends her on her way, justified by God, rejoicing in the power of the Spirit. I close with this. Sunday by Sunday, we find ourselves in a composing stick called the confrontation of judgment and forgiveness. It's a confrontation of honesty and affirmation that justifies us before God. We bring ourselves, our souls, and our bodies, our pasts, and our presence to God, knowing that the sacrifice of God is a troubled spirit and a broken and contrite heart. And that sacrifice will not be despised by God. As Jesus said, "Go in peace, your faith has saved you." Amen.